Over the course of this podcast series, you'll hear myself and my guests talking about asking listeners to support you and thanking them when they do. In real time, it is the last week of January, and I want to start by thanking the late bloomer actor for all those lovely streamed sats on Fountain. We haven't covered streaming or sats in the podcast yet, but we soon will. The episodes releasing this week are on the funding tag, so it is an apt time for me to thank Eileen Smith for being the first listener to buy me a coffee, saying, "Love how you are spreading the word about podcasting 2.0. Thanks, Claire." Well, thank you too, Eileen. You can buy me a coffee by visiting buymeacoffee.com/creativityfound or simply clicking the funding icon in your modern podcast app. I'll show you what this looks like in the funding homework episode. And on True Fans, the show has been supported by Martin Linskog from the podcast Studio Fusion. I hope Deborah feels better soon. And the aim is to make things easier for the podcaster at all times, so defo through the hosting provider. And when it happens, rest assured I'll release an episode to let you know. Martin will know what I mean, and you will too if you read his comments on the chapters and super chapters episodes on True Fans. Okay, on with the show.
First, they make podcasts more accessible for people who are hard of hearing or just people who prefer to follow along with something textual while they listen. With transcripts, every word becomes searchable. So this means episodes are more likely to show up in search results and bring more organic traffic for creators, thus helping them get a bigger reach. It gives more control to the creator over their own content, which I think is super important these days.
Welcome back to Podcasting 2.0 in Practice. I'm here today with Ellie Rubinstein. Hello, Ellie. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Ellie, start please by introducing yourself and letting us know about your podcast credentials.
Sure thing. So my name is Ellie Rubinstein, and I'm the head of Podcast at Automatic. My background is in software engineering and product management. I've been in tech industry for 17 years. 12 years of those were working in various tech companies and 4 years managing and leading product teams. 6 years ago, I joined Automatic, which is the best company I've worked for, to be honest. And Automatic acquired Pocket Cast in the summer of 2021. I joined the team a year later when Russell, the CEO and co-founder of Pocket Cast, decided to move on, and I stepped in to replace him. Today, I oversee the engineering, product, business, sometimes even marketing functions at Pocket Cast. And since I joined the team, I really immersed myself in anything podcasting, really learning about the industry and the ecosystem and understanding how everything works. So that's my background.
Pocket Casts fairly recently started supporting transcripts. I would say that of all the podcasting 2.0 features, it's probably one of the most well known. But that said, could you just explain to us what transcripts are?
Yeah, sure thing. So transcripts are a written version of spoken audio, like a word by word script of a podcast episode, for example. And they really capture everything in the episode.
Okay. Yeah. So when you can view a transcript along with listening to the audio, but why do we want transcripts on our podcasts? How is that useful to the listener? Why do we think that this is a good thing that we should have?
Yeah, so good question. I think that transcripts have two main key benefits. First, they make podcasts more accessible for people who are hard of hearing or just people who prefer to follow along with something textual while they listen to audio. It allows them to engage with podcasts in a way that wasn't really possible before. And then second, transcripts enhance content discoverability. So on our platform, when we have the text version of an episode, when we have the transcripts, we can then add it to our search engine and index on that text. So when someone searches for keywords or topics, episodes with that content can show up in our search results. In the same way, transcripts also help with SEO. So search engines like Google and Bing can't index on audio content directly, but with transcripts, every word becomes searchable. So this means episodes are more likely to show up in search results and bring more organic traffic for creators, thus helping them get a bigger reach, right? And I think today, with all the advancements that we're seeing with AI, transcripts now also enable semantic search, which is a big step forward. So instead of just matching on keywords, semantic search looks for the meaning and context of the queries of what people are searching for. So to make that work for podcasts, the spoken word, the audio, needs to be turned into text first. And then the text becomes the foundation for a smarter and more accurate searches. Speaking of AI, it's doing a lot today. It's generating transcripts, it's generating summaries, it's even generating content. But I think that there is a real advantage for creators in using the podcasting 2.0 tag, something like transcripts. And that's the reason why we adopted support for the transcript tag before we implemented generating transcripts. So these tags give creators a way to connect with their audience more authentically. So for example, as creator can use tags to share their buy me coffee link, right? In the same way with transcripts, they can really own the content of the transcript. They have full control over it. They can remove ad breaks. They can modify the speaker labels. They can do a lot that the transcript generated by AI is not providing. And I think that that authentic connection between the creator and the audience can really come through the tags. So that's another benefit of using the transcripts with the podcasting 2.0 tags.
You can get your transcript made by AI, but you can then correct it within the Podcasting 2.0 feature that is supported by hosting companies, which I've been explaining in this show as we go along the episodes. You can actually get your transcript made by AI, but you can then go in and change it and correct it, make sure the names of the people are spelt correctly, whatever it may be, and make sure there's no odd things that are heard wrongly, and you don't really want them appearing on your transcript.
And sometimes that happens. I think it was one of the recent episodes on the Pod News Weekly Review, one of my favorite shows by our friends Sam Sethi and James Quitland. I think one of the last transcripts that they generated included a word or a phrase that didn't sound good, so they decided not to use the transcript, and that happens. And they're using the transcript tag. It just shows you that it gives more control to the creator over their own content, which I think is super important these days.
Yeah, and we've already spoken in this series with Daniel J. Lewis about chapters and about how the chapters being with the 2.0 cloud chapters, as they're called, you can change them afterwards as well. So you may put a transcript out and then somebody may come to you and say, did you know that your transcript says this? You can then go and change it, and from the future, it will be corrected.
Exactly.
There's that flexibility and control that you're talking about. So just going back to the SEO you were talking about, from the point of the podcaster, we're talking a lot about discovery in this show. So having a transcript and putting in the effort of putting a transcript on their show not only is polite and nice for listeners, but that is then going to help them to be found both inside podcasting apps and outside in generally on the internet. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's correct. So we have our own search engine, and when we get a transcript from a podcaster, we input it into our search engine and we index on it. We tokenize the content. We make it searchable. So when you go on our search function and search for specific keywords or topics that were mentioned in that episode would surface up in the search results. In the same way, for outside search engines like Google and Bing, they can't index on audio currently. It's just not possible. So when they have the text version of the spoken audio, they can index on that content. And then when you search for something on Google, when you search for a specific word, like a track in Argentina or like a cooking pot, then that episode will surface up in the results on Google. So from the creator side, it can broaden their reach, their audience reach. And I think that's also very important because there's so much content out there. And again, back to AI, generating AI content, it's adding a lot of noise and it's masking the original content from creators who have worked really hard to create that content. So taking advantage of things like this can help surface their content and help them reach more people.
Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. That's just those extra reasons to think to do it. And it's so easy to do. I'm going to explain in the next episode how to make a transcript and how to put it on your hosting company. And it is really easy to do. So there's no excuses.
Exactly. And hosting companies today, they really help their creators with those things. So there really is no reason why you shouldn't have shouldn't provide transcripts on your episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to explain how easy that is on some of those hosting companies. Thank you.
Excellent.
Brilliant. Is there anything else?
I just want to say that we are not finished with supporting podcasting 2.0 tags. We have chapters, we have transcripts, we have podping. All of those were really, when we released them, were really celebrated in the community and the industry. But we have plans to adopt tags like funding and podroll. And we're really, really excited about that and excited to foster more of the connection between the creator and the audience.
Brilliant. That's really exciting. Podroll is one of my absolute favorites.
Yes.
I just think that's a lovely one.
I agree.
Thanks so much, Ellie. How can people connect with you?
They can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Ellie Rubinstein. I'm pretty easy to find. Always happy to hear from creators, audience, hosts, anything.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for speaking with me today, Ellie.
Thank you so much, Claire. Thanks for taking the time.
You're welcome. Visit creativityfound.co.uk/podcasting to find out more about my guests and access lots of useful podcast resources. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send a boost. But if you haven't got to that lesson yet, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram account at podcasting 2.0 in practice. Are you thinking of starting your own podcast and looking for a little advice from someone who started from scratch and hasn't looked back? That's me, by the way. Then book a podcast startup sanity check with me so we can work together to clarify and simplify the process of starting a show. I have been podcasting with Creativity Found for 4 years. I have won and been shortlisted for prestigious podcast awards, been a guest on other people's shows, and attended many podcast-specific events in the UK and US, where I have made lots of podcasty pals across all genres. For my second show, Podcasting 2.0 in Practice, I have had the privilege of talking to industry experts as together we teach creators how to benefit from and implement the latest Podcasting 2.0 technologies. In this paid 4 hours chat, we can talk through your content idea, how to record, which platforms are worth the money, how to get your show to all the listening apps, what you need to know to future-proof your show, and much more. Please note, I will not tell you how to have a chart-topping show in your first week, nor how to pitch to sponsors. I will, however, act as a mentor whom you can run your ideas and questions past. The decisions you make with the knowledge you gain are all your own. Visit creativityfound.co.uk/podcasting to find out more. And there is, of course, a link in the show notes.